Good evening and welcome everyone for one more exciting session from GEG Delhi NCR. It's a changing times. Lots of new things are coming up for educators, and as we learn, we also learn to get certified, just to endorse ourselves, just to say that yes, I have learned something new, and this is what this session is going to be about. So join in, get more of your colleagues to come in because this is going to be just an orientation for a fresh new exam that has been opened up by Google for education, Google Workspace for education. And it's great fun to try and see if you can get certified. But before that, before we take you to the details of what we are talking about, let me introduce myself and take a minute to introduce yourselves as well in the chat. We would love to know where you are joining from, who you are, which school or what institution are you working with, and of course, also because today's session is about Gemini, what's your experience with Gemini has been so far. So I'm Sangeeta Gulati. I'm a leader of GEG Delhi NCR. In case you don't know what GEG is, then Google Educator Group is what we are talking about. And we are going to be almost now 5 years old. And of course, I'm leading along with a beautiful team of three other very, very passionate educators who are always ready to share, to learn, empower each other. So I have with me Sanchita. Sanchita, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let's see who all are in our chat as well in the meanwhile.
Yeah, good evening, Sangeeta ma'am, and good evening to all our amazing community of educators who join us whenever we put up any session. And it's there's so much energy we get from our community. So if you are already part of our community for a while, so you know, and if you are very new to us, I'm Sanchita Ghosh. I'm a history teacher. I'm a very, very passionate history teacher. That's my first love. And comes a very close second is technology and infusing technology in our day-to-day teaching learning processes in the classroom. And yes, I co-lead the GEG Delhi NCR chapter with Sangeeta ma'am, Vibha and Rupali. Vibha and Rupali are not with us here. Vibha just might if she can. Rupali is a little busy with the family engagements, but happy engagements. So yes, that's about a little bit about us. And I think all of you are waiting for what we are bringing to you today. Gemini has been a buzzword now for some time. And I think all of us have used Gemini in some capacity or another. But this particular certification is specifically meant for educators. And we'll talk more about it as we go ahead in the session. And I'm looking at all the messages here, and we've got someone, Banin Hakim Saifi, who's joining us from Muscat. So that's amazing. Let's see where else. Oh, we've got Krupa from Chennai. Krupa is my online friend from Instagram as well. She's an amazing person. She's not associated directly with any school, but she teaches chemistry online. And I hope we'll be able to bring you something as well. I was seeing, then we have Mr. Ganesh Rawat from Jalgaon, Maharashtra. We have Rajesh Gopinathan from Uti, amazing. Leena ma'am is also from Uti. We have S.P. Rathore sir from Sangli, Maharashtra. We have Radha Sivakumar. Hi Radha, we've been in touch. And she's a robotics teacher from Muscat, Oman. Amazing. And we've got closer home from Mahendragarh, Haryana, Deepa Singh. Hi Deepa. We've also got Swati from Gurugram. Awesome. It
Awesome.
always warms our heart, no? We are able to reach out to more and more
Yeah,
people. It's always such an awesome feeling.
it's amazing. It's amazing. And so we have Lucknow here, we have Kerala here, we have Gurgaon here, we have Delhi here, and we have, of course, Gujarat and Muscat, Oman. So absolutely delighted to have you all here. We definitely love to share and we love to learn also from you. So we would definitely be eager to see, how you are using various, tools. How are you making your classroom engaging? What kind of, activities you think work in your classroom environment and in your subject as well. So, those are important things because there is so much changing, but not everything may be suitable for your classroom. So what do you choose to use is going to be important. And yes, as Banin Hakim says, AI is really changing our lives, and it is changing how we teach. And unless we do that, we will be left behind and our students would be ahead of us. So as educators, it's important to learn and to stay in touch, in terms of um, seeing how they are progressing. So it is important. And yes, I see that there are some educators who have already taken the certification exam, and congratulations to all of you. We would definitely would love to see that coming from many more of you as well. And we'll figure out a way to maybe one day hold a celebration party to celebrate that as well. But do let us know how you are thinking of using the various features of Gemini, for example. How would that help you to improve your classroom engagement? How would that help your students in various aspects of their learning journey? So I think I'm so happy to see all of you here, and we have Rajni Bhatia, also a very familiar name, joining us from SD Public School, Pitampura. We have Vinita Shah joining us here, and we have Surbhi Sharma. So true to for all the students have become pro in AI. Well, they may think that they are pro, but there's still lots to go take ahead, and maybe, but it's always good to even learn from students. So if they know better than us, then why not just pretend that you have no idea what they are talking about and learn with them. So today's session is a specific one. It is not so much as a training on Gemini. This is not a session where we will be doing deep dive into how to of every aspect. We will try to showcase some of the product components as the Gemini would have, and other Google AI tool, which is NotebookLM. But today's session is going to focus on giving you a kind of a direction as to where to go if you want to register for this new exam. And of course, this new exam is, as of now, a free exam, and it is going to remain free for at least 6 months, is what we have heard. But at least for the time being, it is free. So don't be in a rush to take the exam right away if you are new. So again, let's hear in the chat, how familiar are you with the Gemini? So on a scale of 1 to 5, where do you put yourself in a scale of 1 to 5 in terms of your expertise? One would be, there is Gemini and you have used it for some kind of a chat, but 5 would be, oh, you have explored everything about it. So let's start looking at, and I can see 3 and 2s coming in. And of course we have our GG leader Afzal here, who's of course a pro. Afzal, we know you are 5 and we have so much to learn from you. And we are looking at lots of us on different levels. So first point first, please do not rush into taking the exam. This is just a orientation. This is just a way to create excitement that there is a possibility for you to take this exam and get that certification. But before that, you need to spend a little time in preparing and experiencing, more in terms of experiencing Gemini, right? So let's just stay a little patient on that, in case you're putting yourself on scale of 1 to 5 as 1 or 2. All right. So with that thought, hold on to that thought as we progress along. And again, I'm repeating, we are not going to do deep dive of everything. If you need us to do a session on something very specific, that you have identified after today's session where you need hand holding, let us know, and we will plan a specific session which is going to be only about how to of that. Okay, so I think we are ready to start with that, and going to bring up the slides so that we have some guiding points as well. So again, as I said, this is a session about how do we become a Google certified Gemini educator. So Google has a lot of certification in terms of for educators. You have a level 1 and a level 1. So Google certification for educators level 1, and then level 2. After that, there are certifications for becoming a trainer. We also have innovator program. So all of them are specific in terms of how they are designed and how they are shaped. So this one is new because Google has beautiful AI products in name of Gemini and NotebookLM. These are mainly two that we are going to be focusing on. Of course, you will find Gemini or AI, the artificial intelligence, everywhere when we think about Google products. So whether it is, an autocorrect that is happening in a Google Doc, or you are looking at some kind of other system that you are running, you would find artificial intelligence so many places. But we are going to be talking about the special Google AI products as Gemini and NotebookLM. Both are now core apps. They are available in your Google Workspace for Education account. They are free, they are not paid products. So that's something beautiful. You don't have to pay to try everything that we are going to be talking about today. So we are not going to be talking about anything which is premium or paid. So with that thought, let's move on to looking at what we are going to bring to you. But before that, a quick look at my other two partners who are not here. So this is the team of GEG Delhi NCR, and of course the background is of the Google office, if I am not mistaken. So we always look for opportunities to be together and to enjoy. And now when we are looking at what exactly this Google certified exam is, uh, I have big thanks to Andrew Caffrey, who's the CEO of Canopy Education, who gave us in fact, the inspiration to do this session. And he very, generously shared the content as well, so that we have certain guiding points. So we are going to kind of mix and match between the two. And so this is who Andrew is. He's the CEO of Canopy Education, and he gave a very beautiful webinar, very crisp, to the point. We may not be that to the point. We may do a little more than that 40-minute session. So don't worry, we have plenty to share. So Andrew gave us a kind of an outline of this exam, and we thought this kind of a session might help all of us. So what exactly we are looking for, we've already talked about how familiar we are. So thank you for your responses. That has kind of given us, a way to go forward. Uh, about the certification exam, we will share lots of links with you, which will become your resources. So those links will, take you to this page, and many more where the resource materials are available for you to prepare. But this is what the exam page would look like. So if I just open up that page for you, so if I am looking at registering, then this is what this exam looks like. So it comes here, and of course you must sign in with your Google account. And if you have already an L1 and an L2, or one of them, uh, preferably use that same account, so that your all your credentials and your certificates remain in one account. uh, and preferably use your personal account. This is something which I tell for all the certifications, because you may change school, and then your certificates and your badges and other uh, one would say proofs will not be accessible to you. So use your personal account. And this is the page that opens up for Google certification for Gemini exam. This is what it looks like. And you would then click on register. And from here, the little page of registration will open up, which basically asks you to give your first name, last name, school organization, etc. So just in case you are not associated with any school, because some of you did mention in the chat, you can definitely maybe just write NA, not applicable, right? And yes, this exam does not require any prerequisite. You do not have to be L1, L2 or a trainer. This is for everyone, right? So don't you worry about that. And then you fill in this, and of course it also gives you that you can use either your personal or school organization. And in this form there is also a field for backup email address. So if you have two email addresses, personal or professional, you may use either of them. So you just fill in all of this, and you would be ready to get started. So if I go back to the registration page, this is where it would start looking like. So here is the exam page. And once you have registered, instead of available, that little green tab, you would be able to get the little tabs button, or one, you want to say that mark saying registered, right? So instead of available, it will become registered. And you will also get a certain timeline within which you need to attempt the exam. So generally it is 14 days. So that will also come up, and you will also get an email which will tell you that yes, your exam, you have been registered, and you will be given the timeline for that. Once you are ready, you have time with you. Say, there's no fixed time, by the way, of the exam. So if you have say an hour and a half on, one would say, on your hands, then you will be able to come back and sit down. So just open up the same page, which is the certification page. And I do notice that some of you are asking for the link. We will be sharing all the links together at the end of the session, when we kind of wrap up. But I'm putting the certification link as well here, because these links will get lost in the chat. So these links will also go into the description of our video, which is going to be available on YouTube. But if you wanted to save this link right now, so I have put that in the chat as well. Okay, so again, once you're ready, then you will click on take the exam, and you will be good to go. So this exam is going to have, we are looking at 37 questions, slightly odd number, but yes, there are going to be around 37 questions, which are going to be multiple choice. And these multiple choice questions could be single select or multi select. There is also a possibility, because they are going to come random, there is a possibility that you may have a question of sequencing, like sequencing the steps in a certain process. So that is what you would be able to find when you come to this and say, yes, I'm ready to take the exam. And there is a link for take exam there. So once you click on that, you will be able to get started. So here's my screenshot to help you to see, recognize what it would look like. I hope it's not a really complicated process. There are no, long registration forms. It's a very, very simple process. And when you're ready, when you think you have a, say an hour and a half or an hour with you, you should sit down and attempt this. Not immediately needed completely. So that is how you would be able to attempt this exam. And just be careful, because the language need to be read very, very carefully. Sometimes the questions become a little ambiguous, in terms that all the options may start looking correct. So the language has to be noted and answered carefully, just as we always tell our children, right? Read the question carefully. So that's all you have to do, and I'm sure you will all manage in the first attempt itself. So what are the questions that are going to come there? So the questions or the content, there is of course a little guidelines on that as well. So we will share the resource for that also, as to so that you know that this is a course or this is a preparation that you need to do. So you can go through that Gemini course so that you are familiar with all the small and big details. But since we are talking about artificial intelligence, Gemini, and in particular, we are looking at Gemini as part of the generative AI. So the questions are going to be based on this only, which is going to be, say almost 50% of your questions, where you're looking at maybe the product specific tools or questions coming in, uh, but sometimes just the basic idea of what generative AI is. So what does generative AI do, right? So when we talk about generative AI, it's that AI, that artificial intelligence, which helps you create. So whether it is new content in terms of text, image, or infographics, or you're looking at some kind of, now we are experiencing something called as the vibe coding. So you don't know a word about the code, but you are still able to use natural language to say, okay, I want something like this to be created. So you are able to, get even an app created. So a lot of those created content that you're bringing, that's been generated through the generative AI based on natural language, which is based on large language models. So that is what we are looking at. So when we think about generative AI, it is that artificial intelligence which can create new content, text, images, all other kind of media. LLM is a very often heard abbreviation, but what LLM is large language model. It's that engine behind the generative AI. So generative AI is based on the large text data that is being fed and worked on to translate and to create our images and media. But the command that we give these generative AI tools, what I want it to create, is known as the prompt. And prompting is important. Unless you know what you want, AI will not understand it as well. So, the art of giving that clear instructions to AI to get the desired output, that is important. That is something which is important, and that is where we are looking at as a term prompting coming in, right? So, definitely, it is important for you to understand that these are the very, very important words that we are using. So you need to be familiar with that terminology. So that is part and parcel of the exam, certified Gemini educator. Now, when we talk about Gemini and Notebook LM or Google AI, we are looking at their use with reference to the Google Workspace for education. So, as I mentioned earlier, Gemini for education and Notebook LM are free, no matter what Google Workspace for education model you may be using. So, it could be fundamentals, which is free, or you are using education plus or teaching and learning. The Gemini and Notebook LM is free. And if you open that 9 dots app waffle or app grid, as we say, there also you will be able to find the icon for the Notebook LM as well as the Gemini. So you can even start from there rather than going to notebooklm.google or gemini.google.com. So you can find these apps right there in the waffle as well. Along with that, Google has also come up with a more advanced version of Google AI, which is called as the Google AI Pro for education. This is a paid license which brings with it the Gemini into every app of Google Workspace. So if you open a doc or sheets or drive or Gmail, Gemini will be able to act right there. It's present, in fact. That whole, diamond shining on the top will always be there, and there will be a right side panel that opens up, and amazing use can be done. But that's a paid one. So, from my understanding as of now, the questions on AI Pro will not be there, but just to know that yes, you can have Gemini in Google Docs if you have Google AI Pro for Education license, which of course is a paid one. So it's not that you do not find them there. It is there, but it is paid license. So if your school is using Google Education, even Standard Plus, it you will still not have access to Gemini in Google Workspace apps. So for this, you need to have a separate license. So that's something that you need to be mindful about. Moving on, what we are looking for is why should one use Gemini? How is Gemini helping us? What are the benefits of using Gemini in our classroom, in the education, context? So whether it is Gemini or otherwise, whatever your experience of artificial intelligence is, one of the things that immediately comes up is, oh, it's going to save time. But more than saving time, there are a lot of other things that are happening if used correctly and if used with a purpose. So, Gemini definitely helps you to personalize learning, differentiate instructions for individual students. So, if you have a text which is very heavy in terms of the grammar or even in terms of the vocabulary that it uses, but your students or a particular student needs to use or follow simpler language, you can use Gemini to simplify that text. So you can use it to simplify the language, level of the language, and then share that with the student so that the student benefit. So that's just one of the use in terms of the personalizing learning, but you can have a differentiated worksheets created, etc. If of course Gemini also helps us to streamline the planning, you can generate lesson plans, learning objectives, and rubrics, which used to be such a task. So if you want a rubric and you want that rubric to be available even in your Google Sheets, you create it in Gemini and then export it to Google Sheets. And then, of course, everything is to be looked back at and then edited if needed, and customized as per your requirements. If you are a teacher, you know that you are writing to the parents time and again, and sometimes you struggle, you want to send a message, but it need to be something which is not a harsh letter. You want to kind of give it in the more diplomatic ways. Sometimes you struggle with the words. Well, Gemini can come to your rescue. So you can draft emails to parents, create newsletters, announcements, and again, the tasks that you do repeatedly, they can be helped with Gemini. So all the communication that you are doing repeatedly, that can be simplified and can be supportive and productive. Of course, lots of things to help students. You can create quizzes, study guides, supplement material. Loads of opportunities and possibilities are open for us with the Gemini. So there is so much. And again, I would request, if you are using Gemini, put it in the chat. How are you using Gemini? How are you using, have you created differentiated worksheets? Did you try to create something, maybe as an activity or to inspire? Sometime, even our lesson plans get boring after a few years of use. Did you use Gemini to freshen them up and get more activities? So all of that is possible with Gemini. So one of the very important thing, and I loved the way Andrew had shared this, that AI is augmenting, it is not replacing the teacher. So teachers role is not going away. Teachers requirement and place in the classroom is going to be always important. It's just that AI is going to support you to augment what you do, and therefore always give your special touch to the content that Gemini creates, or for that matter any AI creates. Always look back and customize it, see whether it is suitable for your class or not, because sometimes you know your students in fact better than any AI. So it is possible important that it is in tune with what your students requirement is. So always give yourself the due importance, and in a way, think of yourself first rather than always the AI which is going to do the job. All right, very important question coming up here on the screen. Let's hear from you. What do you think when using Gemini? And I'm keeping the reference as workspace for education. When using Gemini, which of these is correct? Because when we think about using artificial intelligence, we need to be careful about the privacy, security. So, what do you think is working here? Is your data reviewed and then used to train the LLMs, the large language models? Or your data is not reviewed and not used to train LLM? Let's hear in the chat what you think is happening from 1 and 2. Let's see. I'm waiting to see what responses I get. I have some very interesting suggestions
Okay,
of
we
how
have a
you are.
50-50.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll bring
all right.
those chats up later where you are using
Hmm.
AI, and but okay, great. So I'm getting a lot of people saying one, and there were just few who said two. Yeah, okay,
We've got only
that's
two people who said two, otherwise, we've mostly had ones. Yep.
yeah. So I did say, and I am repeating, the question is when using Gemini, and this is in Google Workspace for education, which of these is correct? So when we are thinking of making use of Gemini and in reference to the workspace for education, that is in context of the school using school having the association with Google Workspace for education, so you all are under the domain of the Google Workspace for education. It does not matter whether it is fundamentals or premium license. Gemini will not be reviewing the data used. Any data that is fed to Gemini will not be reviewed by Google, not only in Gemini, but in all the other apps as well. So whether it is, you have got your result sheets or, Google Sheets or any other content, none of that content is reviewed by Google. That is the security that comes from, and the assurance that comes from Google. And since large language models require that data to be fed, etc., even then, first and foremost, the promise of Google is that when we are using Google Workspace for education, this data will not be used for any other purpose. It will not even be looked at. So the correct answer is actually two, that your data will not be reviewed and will not be used to train the future LLMs. So that is the promise that comes from Google Workspace for education. So that is something which you all can pause there and look at, and then compare with any other tools that you are looking at or other AI products that are available, and then try to understand as to how, what benefit this has. Of course, we still say that when you share data wherever, do not put the names of the students in the chat. So if you are looking for creating a lesson plan and you say you want to think about one particular person in your class, so say a student X, So you want to say, student X has ADHD and I need to plan. Yes, we do advise that don't put the name of that student. But as far as Gemini in Google Workspace for Education is concerned, it does not review nor use that data to train the LLM, because they anyway are working outside this data that comes, right? So that's important for all of us to know. I'm glad that this question came up and we are able to have a discussion on that. All right. So again, when we think about implementing Gemini in educational practice, what are the possibilities that it brings to us? We are going to be looking at. And this is, the kind of a screen that opens up when you come to Gemini, and you look at the first screen that comes up. You will be able to see, one, there is a little arrow on the top left, which opens up the kind of model that you would be using, and you can very conveniently just use 2.5 flash, although you do have some tokens access in the pro as well. So this is something to be familiar with. And then the four tools that you're looking here, four tools which are guided learning, deep research, create images, and the very very versatile canvas. So what are these we need to get familiar with and need to have an experience of? So just in case you have not had experience of this, it is going to be good that after this session you sit down and open Gemini if you are not doing it simultaneously, and try some of these things later. So, what is exactly we mean by these four things that you just saw? Images, I think everybody has been following the, one would say the trends of various kind of images till since this nano banana had come up. But we are not going to talk about that. We are looking at other things which are more academic and helpful. And one of them is guided learning. So guided learning aspect or the tools in Gemini, as you can see here now on my slides, it's basically a way to support the students, but not give them the answer immediately. So guided learning is in Gemini leads the student through the learning process by nudging them, by probing them with some questions, and not giving the answer directly. So that's what guiding learning does. It encourages participation through probing and open-ended questions, which would spark a discussion and again would provide that opportunity to uh, dive deep into the subject. So that's guided learning. It goes beyond answers, because one of the fear of all the educators is that, well, if AI is going to give the answer, then why would they even read, or why would they even study? Then we are looking at another very important tool called deep research. As the term suggests, deep research, when you want to do a research on small or big topic, you can use deep research, which basically goes across the web, goes through hundreds of websites, looks for content suitable and related to the theme that you are researching on. It shows you the plan of action, what the research is, what path the research will take. You can edit that path and guide, deep research to say, no, I want to focus on this, or I want something specific. And then it will generate multi pages reports, which again can take different format as a web page, infographic. You can even have a quiz on it, and also very beautiful audio overview. So all of that comes under deep research. We will be showing you live, or rather going into Gemini and showing you these aspects as well. But I thought it would be good to just give you first an overview of what these components are. Gemini Canvas is my favorite because it's something which helps you to create, and create not just maybe a quiz, but it also gives you that idea of, person like me who has never coded a line in my life. Now I can use simple command to ask it to code an app. Now, if you want to create a tic-tac-toe game, go ahead, do that. But if you want to create a math activity or a science simulation, or create an app which graphs something, you will be able to do that. So matching activities, if you want for your class, you can ask Gemini in Canvas to do that. So that's the beauty of Gemini Canvas. Another beautiful thing that has come in Gemini is the gems. And the gems of the Gemini are basically the customized versions of Gemini, which helps you personalize that topic, and which you can give instructions for, and it will do only perform only that one task. For example, if you're looking for, maybe asking it to create profile, like report card comments, so you can say, okay, I'm going to give you the characteristics of the student, and I'm going to tell you what his achievements are, and then you will create the remarks for the report card. But for that, you will have to give that prompt every time, right? When you're using any chatbot, you will have to give that prompt every time. What Gemini gems do is, you create a gem by giving these instructions beforehand, that this is what the requirement is. You will ask me questions, and based on my answers, you will create a say 5 lines comment, or 500 words, or 200 words comment. So that is something possible, but not just as that profile remarks, but even as a analysis of your results. Or as a maths teacher or a science teacher, I want to create quizzes. So if I want to create a MCQ and a short answer quiz, or as a science student, I want to learn something specific, maybe photosynthesis, so I can create a gem which is going to be my learning coach. In fact, some of the gems are provided by Google itself, and they are one of them is a learning coach, so you can learn anything. You can ask it that I want to learn photosynthesis, or you want to learn addition of integers. It will guide you through by asking questions. So that's what Gemini gems in Gemini does. It creates that custom AI expert. So I think, Sanchita, should I now move to the actual Gemini and do a quick demo of where these tools are before I hand over to you?
Absolutely, Sangeeta ma'am. And as you can see, the chat is buzzing, and lots of interesting comments coming up. We have Mr. Sefi talking about how he'll be using Gemini more after the session, and will share his experiences with us. I'm sorry. And yeah, I think the explanation also on whether the LLM will be trained on the data being generated through Gemini within your education domain. And I think that really did fox a lot of the teachers here, as we saw. So that was a great thing. And yeah, Sangeeta ma'am, let's get started with the live demo and
Yeah.
see what Gemini can do for us.
Right. So this is, what it looks like was when you open gemini.google.com. This is what the page starts looking like, as a new chat goes. So if you look at this page, it has, left panel here. And this is, of course, anytime something new comes up, I love that Google tells you. So it's saying that there are some new models available. So if I click here, there is also Reasoning Math and Code 2.5 Pro, which is showing new on my screen. And then again, we are going to be talking about only 2.5 Flash, because Pro has limited tokens. So you will then start saying, well, it's not working for me, right? And we are not going to be distracted with Nano Banana, because then we'll just go bananas. So we will not talk about that. Let's quickly look at this side of the panel. Here is where you will find all your recent chats. So your recent chats are getting saved on the right hand side, sorry, on the left side of the panel. And this is the Gemini chatbot, which is going to be opening up. And here is where the tools are. So when you click on the tools, you see the four options: deep research, create images, canvas, and guided learning. But if you don't choose any particular tool and you ask Gemini to create something, it will still, you know, respond to you. So let's try that. So suppose I'm saying create an interactive quiz on, let's say, solar system. So if I'm looking at creating this, let's see what it generates. So I'm not asking it to create an MCQ or a worksheet style, but I've just said interactive. So the keyword that I've used here is actually interactive, but this is what it looks like. And then this is something which has got maybe 10 questions. I could have asked for 3 only, or 5 only, or 15. And then, you know, you're looking at student, you know, you can share them from here. So you can copy this link, and since this is in my non you know, education account, I can share, but within the education account you will not be able to share any content as of now. But soon Gemini and NotebookLM is coming in Google Classroom, and then you're going to do amazing, amazing things. But student can get this kind of a quiz which they can then start attempting. So red planet, due to now I'm actually not going to even think about anything, and I'm going to just click on something. So if I do that, the beauty is I did not even ask it to give me any feedback, but it is giving me a feedback. And this is how the students can learn, and you can make your class interactive. Put it up on the board, and then you start asking the students to, you know, give the answers. And as we go along, you know, the students will be able to answer 10 of these questions. And well, that's not where the story ends. Lots of other options or possibilities happen, so I kept something ready beforehand to show you what would happen. So you're looking at this, that once the quiz is completed, you get the analysis, right? Your performance, my performance. You can also extend this by creating flashcards or a study guide, or add more questions. Amazing possibilities. This just with one prompt, which was not even a well constructed prompt, because I did not mention who this quiz is for, what class it is for, or what the purpose of this quiz is. So that's just directly as in the chatbot. Let's take a look at some of the other examples which I thought will help us. So I did talk about deep research. So deep research will be, give a, you know, prompt and says, you know, do. So this is the prompt that I gave to Gemini. Act as a research assistant and research on effectiveness of project based learning in middle schools following CBSE curriculum. And what it does is it gives you the plan, and then it starts, you know, working through, going through number of websites, almost hundreds of websites, and then it created this amazing report. I can, you know, share this, export this to docs. I can copy content and then paste it in another word processor. I can also do many other things. I can create web page from here, infographic, quiz, as well as audio overview. So you'll see all of this is happening, you know, just by asking. And of course, you can go through all of this content, which is going to be multi-page report. Some of them are tables, some of them are just text, but you can enhance all of this with a lot of other stuff. So you can look at perhaps an infographic. So again, just to save time, we did this beforehand. You can create beautiful infographic. You can again iterate this and say, no, you want to use your school colors. You can change that. Everything is editable. And of course, the beauty of audio overview. So I don't know if the audio was clear, or could you hear
No,
it
the
or not?
audio we couldn't hear. At least I
Couldn't hear.
couldn't hear from my end. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to skip that. But the idea is that there are amazing, amazing possibilities. This is coming from deep research, right? I'm sharing a tab, but it still didn't play the, or couldn't be heard. Never mind. You will do this yourself. This is not a training of everything that we have here. Canvas. So I did say that, when you are looking at Canvas, it can create amazing, stuff for you in terms of simple apps to more complicated, complex apps. Or if you are looking at, bringing some kind of an activity in your class, you can do that. So this is what I was trying to create. Let's see if it opens up here. Okay, let's change that. It says couldn't load the data, but let's see if I can have it opening up. Okay, so that's not opening, but I can ask it to do that. So I can again click on this and create canvas, and then I can ask it to create fraction matching activity. So I can have a drag and drop activities. It may take time, so we may not wait for it to generate completely, but it definitely. Now what I wanted to show was this part, that there is a coding that is happening, which, as I said, I have absolutely no idea. So Canvas use coding, and then it generates. So that's something which is also possible for us. I can move on to something else. Oh, there it is. So it has created a fraction matchup. So match the fractions to their visual representation. So again, I have the simple activity, and I can choose to drag and drop and say, so if I'm looking at 1 by 6, maybe this one, so I can take it, and it does kind of give me the right answer indication by highlighting. Let's try one more. So I have a 2 by 4. Perfect. So let's say 2 by 4, it goes there. But just for example, I take 1 by 8 here, and it says, well, that's not a match. So simple, very simple instruction, but it did do that. So again, now it's, the possibilities are open for you to go and create these amazing things. Let me now move over to, because we are kind of exceeding the planned time, but let's move over to gems. So these are the gems that you would be able to find. Some of these gems are already created by Google, or you can create your own gem here, which basically would do a task that you want it to do. So if you are looking at a learning coach, then it will help you to learn something. What do you want to learn? Maybe I want to learn how does photosynthesis work. Now it's not going to give me an answer in one go. It will start kind of taking you from step A to step Z. So it's going to take you through the process, and it will say, okay, let's break this down. It will give you a big picture. It will give you some analogies. It will also help you in some situation with some kind of videos, some kind of images. Amazing possibilities coming with the gems as well. So that is what you would be able to explore, and make sure that you talk about this and cover it, try them out, so that you are able to answer questions based on that. Images, of course, everybody is familiar with, so I'm not getting into how to create the images. But yes, earlier it used to say Imagen, but now it is also showing you the Nano Banana. So you can use the Nano Banana to create those images as well. So go ahead, try all of them so that you understand each one of these components better. All right. So maybe handing over to you, Sanchita, for our next part, and that is, what do we mean by prompts, and what does the parts framework says?
Yeah, thank you, Sangeeta ma'am. So a lot of activity in the chat, a lot of questions coming up. So we'll take up those questions at the end of the session when we do the Q&A section. So getting ahead with writing the prompt, I think we've talked enough about a good prompt will always generate a good result, right? So how do you design a good prompt? Though you did see that even with the most basic prompts, Gemini is able to give you some really good output, but you can really improve that if you follow a certain framework. There are of course different kinds of frameworks that many experts have shared over time, that we've had generative AI around. But this parts framework is something that Gemini recommends. So also when you will look at the preparatory material for the certification exam, you will, of course, encounter this parts format for creating your prompts. So, firstly, you start with the persona, right? That who do you want Gemini to act as? So you are going to be a high school biology or whatever subject that you teach educated. You could be a primary school teacher, you could be a middle school teacher. So first define what uh, what you want Gemini to be before you move ahead. Then you move on to the next acronym, which is what is the action that you want Gemini to perform. So you want Gemini to perform an action of designing a lesson plan or whatever else that you want to come up with. So it could be a quiz, for example, right? So that's A for you. Then you come into arts. Sorry, R. R is uh, who is your targeted audience. So if I'm creating a lesson plan or if I'm creating a quiz or any other kind of activity, who am I creating this for? So in this case, as you see in the example given, is that it is for grade 10 students, right? And then we come to T, and that is what is the theme. uh, I mean, you can switch it around. You can give the theme first, and then you can come to the recipient part. But this is to make the acronym easier to remember, right? So theme could be what is the topic you want Gemini to create your content or create your plan on, and then we come finally to the S in the acronym, and that is structure. That what do you want the output to be in the form of? So whether it's a lab activity, or is it you want to give them some reading material and then follow up questions on that, or if you're making a lesson plan, what do you want it to look like? You want it in a tabular format, or you want it in just one after the other. So what is the structure of the final output of what you're asking Gemini to do for you? So you remember this acronym parts, right? Starting from your persona, the action that you want Gemini to perform, who is the recipient going to be, then what is the activity parts. T was what? I forgot. T was, yeah, the theme, the topic that you give to this. And then finally, of course, you have S, that is how you want the output to look like, right? So we remember that. Excellent. We can move on, Sangeeta ma'am. Now we are going. So this, of course, is going to be part of also the links that we share with you. So Gemini certified, sorry, Google Certified Gemini Educator test. What they've also done is they've also created a notebook LM for you, a notebook for you, where you can go in and you can prepare for the test, right? So we are now
Sanchita,
going to
this
go
is was created by Andrew.
Andrew.
This is
Yes.
no, this is created by Andy only. But we are going to talk more of Notebook LM now.
LM
So this is
as such,
just a
because it is
notebook that was created on the Gemini exam, and we will share the link of this as well so that it
as well.
might help you. But let's talk about Notebook LM and some more details about it.
All right, so I'm going to present my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should work. Let me go to the entire window. That will make it easier for me to jump from screen to screen.
And let's hear from people in the chat. Have you tried Notebook LM, and what has your experience been so far?
Yeah, so you can keep that coming in the comments. If you've heard of Notebook LM, never heard of Notebook LM, heard but never tried, tried a little bit, or but you're an expert on Notebook LM. Right. So Notebook LM was created to help you understand anything. So it's more of a self-study guide. Um, uh, Mainly for research. It was the first audience that they had considered were students, and largely students who are in higher education. But everyone can try this, right? So yes, I can see the chat coming in. So Vibha says, of course, Notebook LM is magic. Shubham is using it for the last 3-4 months. Some have never heard of it, but now you are. So now you have heard of it. So you can change your answer there. So this is to help you research. It is your thinking partner. You can spar ideas off with Notebook LM as well. And of course, it uses the latest Gemini models to power the backend from there. So you can upload your sources, which is very, very useful. So I might be preparing for an exam, let's say term 1 history exam for class 11. So I can actually upload the PDFs of the NCRT is the textbook that my school uses. I can upload those chapters, and then I can ask NotebookLM to help me prepare for that examination, right? It can also give you instant insights in terms of what is the work that you're doing. It can create study guides for you. It can create a briefing doc, quick a set of notes for you. It can create timelines for you. So a whole lot of things. So it can be a time saver as a student as well as a teacher as well. So maybe you are studying for something, and you want Notebook LM to be your study partner there. And what is best about this is that because you are giving the sources, it is not looking anywhere else. Though it does also give you the feature of looking at the net to get you some more sources, but you can stay limited to the sources that you want to use for that particular study, right? You can create audio overview. This I find a very, very exciting feature. We'll take a quick look at that in a bit. And this is very, very important. So Notebook LM for me right now is open on my consumer account. That is my personal account. I have not opened this on my education, the school education domain that we use. So here also this is telling me that Notebook LM will not use my personal data to train this tool any further, right? So this is going to use exactly the sources that I'm using right now and just give me the content that I need to do. It's not going to share it out anywhere unless, of course, I share out my Notebook LM, further. How are people using it in their day-to-day lives? People are using it to power up their study, organize your thinking. If you're creating a presentation, it can, help you. It can give you ideas. It can help you with certain tips and tricks to make that even better. And you can even brainstorm with Notebook LM to come up with even better ideas than what you first start with. And of course, as when you first open notebooklm.google, this is the page that opens up, right? And I, of course, have my notebook LM ready. I think it's visible. Yeah, I think so. So it gives you some featured notebooks. So these are people who may have shared it out, made it public, and you can take a look. There are a lot more that you can explore. These are some of my recent notebooks that get stored as you create each of your notebooks, right? So we are going to look at the NEP 2020, which is the talk of the town. We constantly keep debating it. Every school has been talking about NEP, how we can incorporate the recommendations of NEP in our day-to-day teaching learning with our students, right? So this is, Sangeeta ma'am here, in fact, she created this Notebook LM, and we'll quickly see some of the features of Notebook LM on using this particular notebook. So let's first, of course, what comes up is it's a quick note. It gives you a quick summary of what this is. We can ask further questions here. So I can type and ask for very specific questions, like I might ask about the multi-language policy that NEP recommends. And then I can have some content coming up, which is looking at all of my resources that have been put out here, right? Um, but we come to the more exciting part here, and where you can see what's going on. So let's start with the audio overview. So you can actually have a podcast style audio feedback from Notebook LM to help you understand more of the huge amounts of data which has otherwise come up as far as NEP is concerned. And what is fun is that you can do a lot more than just listen to a podcast. So if I click on this pencil icon, my pop-up is not opening up, it seems. Okay, my pop-up is it? No, there it is. So it gives me 4 options. I can have a deep dive kind of conversation between 2 hosts. It could be a brief bite-sized overview to get me to the core of the content. It can be in a form of a critique, so an expert review of the sources that you've shared, and which can help me improve my material further. Or it can also be in the form of a debate. So you'll have the 2 hosts debating each other on the merits and demerits or the problems of NEP, or what are the best parts of NEP. I can determine the length of this audio overview. It could be a short one. It can be, default is about 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have the longer one where if the conversation can go on longer. You can even add more prompts here and say, what should be AI host focus on this? So we were talking about multilingualism. So I can say that, okay, focus on the language formula that NEP is recommending. I can choose languages. So you can see currently, these are the languages that are available to me here. I've got English, Filipino. Let's see, we should have Hindi. I thought I saw Hindi the other day. So you can see a lot of languages coming up here. Yeah, here are our Indian languages. So you have them in Konkani. Nepali is one of the languages that we do support in our country. Marathi, Maithili, Hindi, Bangla, Punjabi, Gujarati, Oriya. You can just go on, and so many of our major Indian languages have been incorporated here as well. And then, of course, when I go into create a generate button, it's going to generate an overview. Now, because my system is a little slow, I'm not going to generate it live. But I'm just going to cross this out. Okay. And let's see. I think we had an audio guide here. If I just go down. Okay, my screen is, yeah. So we already have one. So let's see if this plays. Oops. Yeah. Sangeeta, ma'am, was that audible?
No, not really. I think
Because
the
I, in any case, I was not presenting the screen. But
yeah.
anyway, it does create this amazing, two hosts talking to each other about the content that you've put out. So for students who are auditory learners who listen and can pick up well, now it's a great way. Or the kid has gone out for a jog, or you have gone for a jog, and you want to listen and recap what you've read about NEP, for example. It's a great way to look at this. And yes, this can also be downloaded onto your system, and then of course you can share it out if you wish with your students or some fellow teacher who you would want to take the discussion ahead with. There's one in Hindi also which has been generated. The audio is not not audible. We'll not spend more time there. I also like the mind map feature that comes with Notebook LM. It is really, really handy for a lot of my students who I teach, who also want content in a very concise and precise manner, right? So in level, when you first generate this, it only gives you two levels. So one will be the topic and some of the key factors it will post out. You can then look at these forward facing arrows and you can click and expand these, right? So the higher education impacts, for example, so when we look at higher education, often we talk about international and global collaborations. Or if we look at school education reforms, which is more relevant to perhaps our audience today. So we can look at this new structure 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. What does that mean? Or what are the changes in curriculum and pedagogy? Or even the three language formula, which has been hotly debated in our country in various states today. So if you look at curriculum and pedagogy, it expands further. I'm going to make it smaller. So you can see how many other options open up here. And the national curriculum framework for second school education is something that is relevant to us all the time. That there is a question on the bagless period. I think we've conversed with a lot of teachers from across schools on these 10 bagless days and what kind of activities those schools are doing. So you can see that already this is helping you look at things in such a quick and concise manner. This also can be downloaded and shared. I think it's downloads as a PNG, if I'm not mistaken, and you can then share this out with whoever you want to discuss this further with. So that's the mind map, which I love. There's also a video overview, very much like the audio overview. So it creates a quick video for you as well. So if we look at the video and let's play a few quick seconds of this. I can take this forward.
Yeah, it's just not
Yeah,
audible, but we
yeah,
can see, how it has captured the essence of it.
yeah. So I'm just skipping through the video. Yeah. So you can see that it also comes up with slides, and it makes your job so much easier. So you can actually go in and then modify this further and make a presentation. Perhaps, I mean, your school leaders want you to make a presentation on a particular aspect of NEP, and NotebookLM can make that job quite easy for you in that sense. So this is also super, super powerful. And then, of course, you have something called reports. We'll again see a quick example of the report here. So this is the report will always be in a text format, but you can look at some of the key points being featured here in terms of bullet points, and again makes it easier for you to read and process, right? You can, of course, also copy this onto a Google Doc, and then process it in any which way that you want. So really amazing things that you can do with Notebook LM. So try this out. And and practice, because practice is going to help you a lot when you actually sit for the certification examination, right? So we don't always want to just kind of faff through an examination. Take it easy. We've if for, at least for 6 months, that exam is free. Take your time, prepare well. Get back to us if you get stuck somewhere, and we'd be happy to help. I think then we can move on to
Yeah, Sanchita, I've put out
oh, you've
the
taken over. Okay,
slides for
awesome,
the
awesome.
responsible AI in use, so you can we can move on from Notebook
Yeah,
LM to just wrap up with the thought that it's not going to be an exam only about the product, but about the AI in general as well. And one of the aspect of AI or using AI is to use AI in a responsible way. So
yeah.
be careful and be aware. So let's just have a little bit of a chat on that as to what we are looking at when we talk about responsible AI use in education. So
Absolutely.
here are 3 points that Sanchita, if you can just illustrate and elaborate. So we are
Yeah.
talking about bias, hallucination, digital responsibilities. What do you think of these?
So bias is something that I've always been concerned about when AI, generative AI, was kind of first in 2023 kind of broke onto the scene for regular consumers like us. And yeah, because LLMs are trained on data that is already available. So data is of all kinds is available. So what bias does it pick up? That is very, very interesting to see. We'll see Andy's example here in the next slide, where he was just creating an image of a princess. And when he was doing that, all of the examples that he got were white, blonde hair, and very, European looking forests, right? I also tried this. In fact, yesterday when we were having our own meeting on this, we tried doing this ourselves. So Sangeeta ma'am, when she simply gave the command that generate an image of a mathematician. Now she got a woman in that image, but when I generated, I got a white man with salt and pepper hair. So I'm looking at somebody post 50. Then I gave another prompt saying, okay, give me an image of a historian. Again, it was a white man with salt and pepper hair. So you can also try that quickly. Don't use the nano banana, but just on Gemini, just give a simple command, your prompt saying, generate an image of whatever, and see what comes up. So we definitely see this bias. This is, of course, a very simplistic view of the bias. But as you look at more complex conversations with generative AI, you will see a lot of biases, and you have to be conscious of that. You also have to tell your students about the fact that such biases will exist. So we have to be very, very careful when we are using content created by generative AI for further purposes. And of course, we know generative AI can hallucinate all the time. So it will tell you things that don't exist. So be very, very careful about that. Especially, we need to guide our students, because often they do try to take a shortcut, saying, oh, I will just generate the answer using one of the AI tools, and my teacher wouldn't know. But of course, as teachers, we do know our subject better than perhaps our children. And we need to tell them that they need to be very aware that AI hallucinates all the time, which then brings us to the next point, which is of digital responsibility and academic integrity. um, as a teacher, we can always tell when a student who presents work, whether it's his or her own work, or whether some assistance has been taken from generative AI. And remember, universities across the world, or if they are participating in competitions, they do have powerful tools to identify which work generated, uh, is human generated, and which one is AI. So we do not want our students or ourselves getting into any kind of trouble over plagiarism or academic dishonesty when we are using AI. So whenever we are using AI tools, I think it's also good to mention that AI assistance was sought. And in a lot of the things that come up are generated now, especially with images, with Gemini, it does have that little diamond watermark to tell the audience, whoever's looking at that image, to say that, okay, to know that this is created by uh, artificial intelligence and not by human agency. So these are very, very important things to keep in mind as we go ahead. You may get questions like these in the tests as well. So it's always good to be aware of these concepts as well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think we have covered a whole lot, with all of these, and these are the points that you need to be careful with. So one would suggest that you definitely, go ahead and try them out, but we need to kind of tell you that you need to just first try them out, and then only you'll know, what are the features, what are the things that you definitely need to be familiar with. And to help you support and take you through this process, we are going to share lots of information with you post this session. I have already shared the form link. Form is for the participation certificate, today's session participation certificate. So once you submit that, we will be, there will be a link, that will come up there, which will help you get all of the other links, which also includes the course link. Now, since I saw a question of give example of test questions, we cannot exactly give you the questions, but when you do the course, it does end with a quiz as well, right? And you also get a badge of completion of the course if you successfully complete that exam as well. So go ahead, do that course. You will get that information. There is an exam guide. There is also going to be an exam notebook, which is our notebook LM prepared by
Andrew.
Andrew. So that also would be helpful. So lots of information is available with you. But if you are only, right now still waiting to get more links, although it will be difficult for you to save all of them right now, but I'm putting those also in the chat just in case it helps you, right? So if you would want to grab any of them, you can use this. But best is to stay in touch with us, reach out to us through our WhatsApp groups and so on. Once you have given the exam as well, we would love to hear how your experience has been, how well you have done. So we would love to get to see your results. So there is also another link that I'm sharing, which is where you will get all our social link contacts. So there are lots of ways of doing this, but all these links, let me promise you that once we finish the broadcast today, we will add that in the description of the YouTube as well. Recording will also be available to you post this session, so you can share it with your friends, you can review, you can revisit, and we would love to hear back from you. Yeah.
And don't forget to share out this video with your colleagues and friends who could not join us live today, because this is going to be useful for a lot of educators. And yes, do fill the feedback and attendance form. You will receive the certificate. And Sangeeta ma'am, will they also be receiving the links in their email along with the certificate?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So that will be a great way for you to also save the links in your inbox, which you can keep going back to
So
when you
once you
want to.
submit the form, the pop-up comes up, and you will be able to get those, links right there. And they can also come back to this recording and find the links of the certification web page, also the guide there. There's a very comprehensive guide. There is also a course. So all the three or four links that I've just shared, they would help you. It will be interesting to prepare and then attempt the exam, rather than just knowing the tool and then going and attempting the exam. It will just help you to understand the purpose of, what Gemini is, and what the entire AI and LLM, how are they weaving together, and lots of other things. So it will just make you more stronger and better. So go
Yeah,
ahead
and I
and yes.
Yeah, and I just want to close with what Rupali always says, and Rupali and I all do a lot of the tests together. We'll time it, and we do it within a day or two of each other. And we always say that not only did we learn a lot of small things which we often miss if we're just using the tool while we are doing the course. In fact, the process of taking the exam itself is also a learning process. You suddenly say, "Oh, I didn't know that," and we could do that as well. So yeah, don't take this as a terrible exam or बैठ के 3 घंटा बैठ के कुछ करना है and I'm not good at taking exams. I've always loved these certification exams from Google because even during the exam you can learn so much. So prepare for it well and enjoy the whole process.
Yeah, and one last pro tip, it's an open book test, right? So, in case you are not able to recall exact feature of Gemini, you can always open Gemini in a separate tab and figure it out. Just revisit. Go ahead, do that.
Yeah,
It's not cheating. It is
yeah, it's
possible for
not
you to
cheating at
do
all. It's a
that.
learning
Yeah.
process.
It's a learning process. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and we look forward to hearing from you, and wishing you all the best. Experience, Gemini, explore Gemini, and go ahead and try to use it in your classroom. Very, very important, and make your classroom more enriching. So thank you. Yes, we will be sharing the links in the description soon. Yes, we will be doing that, right? All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And yes, do spread the word.
Yeah.
We'd love to have more people joining us, right? All right. Bye
All
bye,
right,
everyone.
bye.
We are going to wrap up the session here with the one last again message of best of luck to everyone.
All the best.
All the best. Bye bye.